Hey, it's DBJ. Another Eclipse phase video. We're going to talk about the fall. In Eclipse phase, to generalize the fall, it's basically the Terminator movies. Skynet, computers take over, try to wipe out humanity. Humanity runs, scatters into all the dark reaches of the rest of the solar system. Okay. In Eclipse phase, they specifically mention that the fall is not as simple as you would make it seem. And you can really take the idea of the fall to its deep and dark areas. Okay? So the fall, basically, in general, if you do not know the game or have the game, the fall was a computer virus known as a computer system known as the Titans, and I do not know what the acronym stands for offhand. And the Titans basically infected computer systems around the world, and for whatever reason, whether this, you have to decide this as the game, because even in the game, they don't give you where they came from or what its purpose was. But they essentially tell you that this virus could have been imported from contact with an alien race. It could have been a military program. Anything could have happened. But essentially, the Titans take over, corrupt all the government systems, financial systems, backups. Humanity had already flown into or traveled into the stars. So there were colonies set up and colonists out exploring the dark reaches of our own solar system. And this computer system started to fight against humanity. Now, the beginning of the fall is not as simple as it was. They didn't just start making machines with machine guns and start shooting people down. How easy would it be for a corrupt system to change streetlights, to alter medical information on people, to change drug dosages and interactions, to alter virtual reality for people, to make them have accidents, to change flight paths on airplanes, to create situations where one government is spying on the other government and to convince them both that they see something that is not there, to fabricate information. And this is how the fall, how I perceive the fall to happen. That this was a slow progress. Before quote unquote war broke out, there was distrust, financial collapse, and everything. And that's why Eclipse phase, for the most part, has eliminated the very strict and radical cultural and social divisions that we have on Earth today, from meaning that many of the religions are not specifically mentioned in the book, although Islam is, and that is a point of contention to some people. There are also the divisions amongst countries. America versus Russia, versus Senegal, versus Madagascar, versus India, against Japan and China. Those divisions, although many of them were instrumental in creating colonies, people do not identify themselves much longer in Eclipse phase through country or race or culture or religion. They are all of a new culture or faction in the future. Now, how do you use this in the game? Because really what we're talking about is how the hell do I use this information for my character? Well, the best way to use it is to play, especially when playing an infugee, an information refugee, a person who could not afford to leave Earth or was prevented from leaving Earth physically, and you had to leave in a digital format. I apologize. So you download your brain in one of these centers or something, and you digitally send yourself out into the deep reaches of space to be downloaded into a cortical stack, like a thumb drive, hopefully to be placed inside of another body, biological body, hopefully one that looks like your own and acts like your own, and you live happily ever after. And that's not how it worked, okay? So how did your character survive the fall? Were you there during the collapse? Maybe you were involved in the collapse. Maybe you benefited from it. You know, maybe there's a time when you thought that you were making, say, some financial deals and investments, or you came across a really great computer program. You decide to install it and benefit from it because it started hacking systems for you. And it's, wow, I don't know who created this. Maybe the Russians had it, but now that I have it, man, I can get all kinds of personal information on people. Maybe you were helping this virus spread and didn't know. So how did you leave Earth? Did you just get a lottery ticket and leave? Maybe you were rich and purchased yourself one. Or maybe you were so important that you received a ticket off Earth before everyone else. Now, the only way to leave Earth was not, of course, being beamed off. You could very well have been an escapee who just got on a craft, maybe crowded. Maybe the ship could only hold 50 people, and there's 200 people crammed in there fighting to survive as it leaves Earth's orbit. Maybe you were very rich and you had your own interstellar yacht, and you kicked people off of your ship, and you're like, unless you got cash or you got power or influence or something, I'm out of here. I'm taking my own stuff. Screw everybody else. There could be many ways you could have left Earth. Did you leave under your own identity? Maybe you lied and stole someone else's pass. Maybe someone else lied and stole your pass, and you had to finagle a way to hack in just to get away off of Earth. Were you separated from your family? You could have tried to travel together, but were not able to leave Earth together. Or maybe you were able to beam off of Earth together, but where your minds landed up were so many different places as you got scattered. One person downloaded on Luna, another person downloaded in Neptune, another person downloaded in a habitat orbiting Mars. Great ways to have an old life versus a new life. Now here's the other thing too. How long did you remain in cold storage? Did you immediately arrive and were downloaded into a biomorph and just walk around? Or maybe you were held for 10 years, 6 months. Did you suffer any kind of damage? Maybe you suffered some psychological damage on Earth. Or maybe you suffered some psychological editing when you arrived and were finally downloaded. Also, here's the other thing too. What did you do when you were on Earth before you left? Are your skills even relevant any longer? You know, there's the idea of, not needing lawyers anymore. So are your skills even useful any longer? Maybe it's more important that you were a great artist or cook or actor or singer, movie creator. And that's more important in this new society than it is to be a lawyer or a doctor or a machinist, when machines and computer programs could do all these things for you. Or you can use a computer program and download those skills into your brain, making anyone an expert. So the fall, how did the fall affect your game? How did the fall affect your character? What was the time period between it? Were you awake or were you in cold storage during that time? And lastly, what are you today versus what you were before? An abused housewife that escaped Earth may now be a murderous, rampaging, beast-out cyborg in the future, and no one ever knew it. You can easily change sex, change race, decide to be a different culture, absorb different things. You can go completely transhuman, and no one knows who you were in the past. And lastly, are elements of your past still around? Maybe someone hated you from your past and your life on Earth, and they're looking for you. And although you've jumped from body to body, and you've changed many parts of your life, maybe that person is still around. Maybe there's someone that you hated, and this person not only still exists, but you're out there hunting them down, and they have translated from body to body. You can have a game where all the players are looking for the top 10 most hated computer programmers in the system, and they're still out there. Maybe they're still in cold storage or hiding on a scum barge somewhere. Joseph Tannenbaum, who created one of the creators of the Titan programming, is now hiding as Sarah O'Neill Zhang in a scum barge somewhere as a young girl. And he was 80 years old when he created it, but hey, he's a 16-year-old, permanently 16 years old, walking around with a lollipop in his mouth, hoping to hide away from everybody. Don't know. Could be. All right, so the fall. How you handle the fall in your game is up to you, but you know, depends on how you nanofabricate it. Just don't disintegrate it. Okay. Thanks, guys. Man, I am always tongue tied. What the hell is wrong with me?